Hello students, welcome all of you once again. So in the previous class you have seen the working of different devices using solar energy, like solar cooker, okay, solar distillator, and the functioning of greenhouses, okay, for cultivating vegetables and all. So today this is module number 9 and this is the concluding module of this chapter. Okay, so far we were dealing with solar energy. Okay, in non-conventional we have wind energy, solar energy, ocean energy, like that. Out of this we were dealing all these days with solar energy, and this is the last module of this chapter. Okay, next class onwards we will be moving on with wind energy. So, and this chapter we will be essentially dealing with what is called solar electric power generation. That means we will see here how solar energy can be effectively converted in electrical energy. So far we were converting into simply thermal energy, okay, in solar furnaces or cookers or in solar power towers. We were simply converting solar energy into thermal energy, heat energy. Here you will study another technique in which solar energy will be directly converted into electrical energy and their technology, how it is used. And you know, it is the most popular technology used nowadays worldwide to convert solar energy into the most fruitful, most effective energy, that is called electric energy. So for which we will be using some devices. In this chapter we will study the technique of what is the principle of those devices and how that principle is used in technology and how it is made use in our day-to-day application, for domestic application or for industrial application. It's a very interesting topic as far as this chapter is concerned. It's the most important part of this chapter. Okay. So as I told you, it is about how conversion of solar energy into electrical energy. If you go through this list, you will see out of the major pioneering countries who are advancing in the area of solar electric generation, you will see that India is the first among them. If you take the list of 5 countries who are engaged in solar electricity production, you will see out of the 10 countries, India is running the 5 major projects, 5 major power projects in the world, with Pavagada solar energy power park in Karnataka. Okay, it's the biggest one in the world with more than 2000 megawatt electricity produced by this solar power park, where solar energy is converted into electrical energy by using certain solar panels. Okay, and India, you can see how deeply, how seriously India is concerned about generating solar based electrical generation, and all the other countries are coming below India. Okay, so this will show you the significance of this solar electric power, which essentially uses some panels. Okay, so it is one of the fastest growing and most promising renewable source of energy for electric power generation all over the world, not only in our country, in all over the world, because it is the most cost effective way to produce electricity, and it mainly make use a technology called photovoltaic. We will shortly see what is meant by this. Essentially, it is nothing but solar energy converted into some electrical voltage. Okay. Photovoltaic effect. So phenomena we will see shortly. The photovoltaic effect is the generation of voltage and current, electric current in a material upon exposure to sunlight. Okay. So this is what it is. And this theory of solar cell. So the device used for that purpose is called solar cell. Explains the process by which how energy, solar energy, is converted into electric energy. For light photons, okay, you can called packets of light as photons. Okay, light photon strike a suitable semiconductor device and it produces electric current. Okay, this is typical solar power plant. Okay, what you can see like a huge number of panels. These are called solar panels, on which when solar energy falls, they produce each device. You can see, suppose you take a single panel, again the single panel you can divide a number of small cells. So that is why it is called a solar cell. Okay, cell, each small cell produce current, and that is added up. All the cells produce their own individual current, that is added up. So this way you have number of panels. So the collective production of this panel may be huge in quantity, which may be sufficient to run a village, run a town, or even run a domestic house applications. All the machines, all the appliances running in a home can be run using such a set of panels. Okay, so very handy, very useful, very cost effective, very profitable method in the modern world. So we mentioned the word solar photovoltaic effect. In fact, there are two phenomena. One is photoelectric effect, one is photovoltaic effect. Both are almost similar, but there is a difference. In photoelectric effect, you have a metal surface. It is coated with some materials. When solar energy falls over it, electrons are thrown out, or you can say electrons are ejected. So this phenomena is called as photoelectric effect. This was discovered by German physicist Heinrich Hertz. And the other related principles of this photoelectric effect was explained by Albert Einstein. You may be knowing the person, and for which Albert Einstein actually got a Nobel Prize. And the second one is called the photovoltaic effect. This is what we are making use in our solar cells, in fact. In which what is happening is you have a material, usually some silicon, is called a semiconductor. Silicon is a silicon plate actually. One side of the plate is mixed with phosphorus, other side of the plate is mixed with boron. So then physics people say that one side become P type and other side become N type. So what happens, this kind of a plate, if you expose to solar radiation, it starts to run a current. If you connect the both sides with a wire, it starts to run a current. If you connect a bulb here, it will light up. This phenomena is called photovoltaic effect. So there is a difference, and this was discovered by Becquerel, okay, in the year 1839. And both phenomena, in fact, explained theoretically by Albert Einstein and many other people. But originally, these phenomena were discovered by photoelectric effect, discovered by Heinrich Hertz, and photovoltaic effect by Alexander Becquerel. Not Henry Becquerel, don't confuse with Henry Becquerel is for radioactivity. So you can distinguish photoelectric effect and photovoltaic effect with some of the important points. In photoelectric effect, electrons are emitted to the space. Okay, you in the previous slide you have seen a discharge tube. Into the discharge tube, electrons are emitted. Okay, whereas in a photovoltaic effect, emitted electrons directly enter a new material. Okay, in a silicon crystal, for example, one side P doped, other side N doped. So electron travel through a material, whereas in this case electron travel in the tube or in a free space, you can say. Another difference is that photoelectric effect usually occur in discharge tube, just as you have seen in the previous slide, whereas in a photovoltaic effect it occurs in a solid surface, okay, in a solid material, no need of a gas or no need of a discharge tube or like that. Okay, that is another difference. And in photoelectric effect, kinetic energy of the emitted electrons play a big role in current production. Okay. Energy is very important. With what energy it is coming out, what velocity or speed of the electron ejected from the plate. Okay, so depending on the speed, current flowing through the circuit may change. But in case of a photovoltaic effect, where there is no electron running through the plate. Okay, electron is moving through the material. So only mobility is important. What is the mobility of the electrons through the material is concerned. Okay, here there are no running electrons. Okay, because electrons are just mobilized through the crystals. Because we are using a silicon crystal basically, through the crystal they are moving. So that is indicated the mobility. Okay. So now here onwards we will go on with the photovoltaic effect. We will not discuss anything about the photovoltaic effect because solar energy production is concerned with the photovoltaic effect. That is done in semiconductor material like silicon. So this is a typical silicon. So its construction consists of a semiconductor device that converts sun energy, some solar energy into electricity without going through several steps of energy conversion. Okay, means for example in solar power tower you have seen that first of all solar energy is used to boil the water, then boiling water is used to run a turbine, then turbine finally rotates some generator, and from generator electricity is coming. Here no such complexity, very simple process. Directly sun energy, solar energy is converted into electrical energy. Okay, so process is very simple compared to other phenomena that we studied earlier. And for which what is done, we have a crystal, one side is made N-type, for which you can dop with what is called a phosphorus material, you may be knowing about it, and other side is called N-type, P-type, where we will be doping, okay, mixing with say what is called boron. The boron is another element. So this way a single crystal you can consider it with a cake, for example. One side of a cake you mix some other say cherry, and other side you mix with some grapes or dry fruits. So like that it's a sandwich, for example, in a simple way. So one side you mix up with the phosphorus, one side you mix up with the boron. So you get two type of crystal, like N-type and P-type. This is actually the physical purpose is to bring a change in the electron density. When there is a change in the electron density, so what happens when sunlight falls, electrons start flowing from one side to the other side. If you connect to a wire, electrons start flow. Okay, that is simple principle. If there is no sunlight, no electron flow. Okay, so sunlight will lead to electron flow. That if you make the electron flow through a bulb, the bulb will light up. Very simple principle. These are the finer details which not necessary for open course. So I am leaving. Anyway, you can see here phosphorus is mixed or put in the crystal of silicon. This way you can make N-type crystal. Here boron is put in the crystal of silicon. That way you can make P-type crystal, and these two are joined together to get a crystal. Okay, for the purpose of this is a finer diagram you can see. This is a cross-sectional view of this is a solar panel, and if you zoom a small region on the solar panel, you get this diagram. Okay, so just for better understanding, this photograph is given. And let us see what are the major components, major parts of a solar-based electricity generation. So how a typical solar energy-based electrical generation will work, and what are the different parts. Okay, first is a solar panel. Okay, so solar panel converts solar energy into electricity. These are mounted in such a way that they collect maximum energy from sun. Okay, you can orient this plates panel towards sunlight, or in certain other cases you can automate it. Automation means from morning to evening you can rotate the panel according to the sunlight, and this way you can maximize the energy of the reception. Okay, mostly panels will give you a voltage of 12 volt. So depending on your requirement you can use more number of panels. So this way you can 24, 48 like that voltage you can easily generate. Okay, and you can connect them either parallel or series mode. Okay, number of panels like that can be connected. This next slide will show you. Suppose this is a single panel, you can connect them in series like this. Series. This is called series connection. For certain application, you can use a series connection. And this is what is called a parallel connection. You see, parallelly they are arranged. like a wireless parallel. So that depends on what type of application you are focusing on. Accordingly, you can do the connection. So this is a battery. Battery is very important. So why the battery is required? Because only during daytime you will get solar energy. So during daytime, the whole energy is converted to electrical energy. Then it is finally stored in the battery in the form of chemical energy. Okay. So during night time, this chemical energy you can convert again back into electrical energy. So that is the purpose of having a battery. Without a battery, you cannot operate a solar energy system throughout. If you have no battery, you can use it on daytime. So as and when electricity is generated, you can directly use it. But if you want to store them for night purpose, it has to be connected to the battery. So battery is important part of a solar energy system. The other one is controller. So controller is a very important part of a solar energy system. It regulates the flow of current into and out of the battery from panels. So this is a device connected in between panel and battery. It controls current in and out, because when battery is full, the connection should be stopped. Okay, so that is very important, otherwise battery may get damaged. Similarly, you are exhausting, when you are taking power out of the battery, it should not be completely drained. That means battery should not be completely drained, completely finished. That will damage the battery. Both are important. So it should not be overcharged and it should not be charged down to zero value. It should not be charged down to zero value. So for this purpose, a controller is connected. If the current generated overcharges the battery, that may lead damaging of the battery. So that must be prevented. Okay. So it acts like a cut-off device. Cut-off. Cut-off means switching off. When battery is full, it will switch off. Similarly, if the battery is completely discharged, it will destroy the battery. Hence, a solar controller prevents the battery to undergo these extreme conditions, either overcharging or out of charge. Both conditions must be stopped. So that is the role of a controller. And charge control also balances amount of electricity taken into and out of the battery. It means that when you switch on the circuit for your application, battery should give us constant current. Instead of giving a surge of current, a sudden high current, that is called surging, what should do? It should give us constantly throughout the time. So that is made possible by controller. Okay. So by overcharging and deep charging, so it prevents damaging of battery. Similarly, when charge is finished, it will give you as an alarm signal. So this alarm is made possible by using this controller. Okay, these are the functioning of a controller. And fourth one is inverter. This is also an important part of a solar system, solar electric system. Inverter is required for various purposes. Firstly, the electricity generated from a solar panel is a DC voltage. Okay, you know, DC current. It flows in one direction. Whereas most of the domestic appliances like a mixie, fridge, AC, whatever we have, all are working on AC. So we cannot use this solar energy directly for our domestic applications. So what we have to do? We have to put them in an inverter, and inverter convert the DC voltage into AC voltage. Okay, only then we can feed into our appliances, domestic appliances. So that is done by the inverter. That is first application. So secondly, in some area, what we do is after generating this energy using solar panels, this can be supplied to the public distribution system. For example, in a KSC, you can supply them from your home and you will be paid for that. So if you want to do that, inverter has to convert the generated DC into AC. Then only you can feed this into the public distribution system. So for this purpose also, inverter is very important. So inverter converts the original DC into AC, then feed into the distribution system. This way we can generate income, and KSC will be providing. And this way you can reduce the bill also. Electricity bill, your domestic electricity bill you can reduce. Okay, so these are the different parts of a general solar electricity generating system. Okay, and there are three other systems based on the mode of distribution. There are basically three types of distribution system all over the world. Okay, all over the world. So it is very interesting. The first one is off-grid or standalone solar electric system. First one, we will explain in detail what is this. Second one is grid-connected domestic solar electric system. And third one is called central grid-connected solar electric system. So let us see these all the three systems one by one in detail. What's mean by first one, off-grid solar electric system or standalone. Standalone word indicates that it is independent. It remains isolated. Isolated in the sense that it is usually used in remote locations where no electric power supply is available. For some remote village, or in a high altitude region, or in a hilly region, or in a desert place, or in ocean. Suppose separate islands. Suppose you go in a Lakshadweep or Andaman. There it find application where no other source of power is available. Hence these are used in rural areas where it is difficult to get the power from grid extension. So that is called standalone, means independent. It has no connection with the grid lines. Okay, so once it is gone, no other power supply will be available. Okay, this way the systems are shown here: battery, solar cell, control system, inverter, everything is shown here. Okay, it's an independent system. No connection with the outer grid supply. Whereas typical examples are given. Such system can be used in a remote railway station, for example. Whereas power supply, public distribution system are not available, where this can be used. Solar battery system can be used, and it can be used for signaling purposes. And in tribal areas, for example, where electricity supply is not available, which are located in dense jungles, where such an independent standalone solar supply can be given. Okay, and second one is grid connected domestic solar electric system. It is a two-way system. That means it can be used for domestic supply. At the same time, it can be used for grid supply outside. That means power generator can be fed into the public distribution system. So this way, as I mentioned earlier, this way it is a source of income generation, and it will reduce the electricity bill of our domestic supply. Okay, so such a system creates a micro power station and are connected directly to the electricity grid. These are normally found in urban areas where power is readily available. During the daytime, what happens? It feeds the excess electricity into the grid, and during evening and night it imports the electricity from the grid. So at night we need it because we are in demand of power. Here the grid acts like a storage medium. Okay, it's something like a battery storage. You don't have a battery here. Okay, you simply produce in the daytime and supply to the grid, and during night time you get it from the common grid. So this you can reduce the expenditure of battery. You don't have to need a battery here, because you are producing the daytime, that is taken by the public supply, and during you are drawing the supply energy from the public supply. So this is a method to reduce the expense of batteries, because batteries are very costly. So if you don't have a public supply system nearby, you have to use a battery. You have to supply, you have to charge them during daytime, and in night time you can need. So that is a difference. So it find application in our domestic purpose also. That's a very purpose of this open course. You can also plan such systems in your domestic circuits. This way the expenditure for power you can cut down marginally, and it is another way of generating income also. If generation is much more than the power consumption, you can depend on it, you can rely on it as a source of income, a regular source of income. And the third one is that, so these are all explained. The system receives the payment for each kilowatt of power. This is available even in our country. Most of the state level public power distribution system, they have providing this facility nowadays. even enough loans are available. Okay, interest-free loans are also available for installing such a power systems in our domestic sector. And finally, the third one is called central grid connected solar electric system. It's the most it needs heavy investment. So that is what I showed you at the beginning of these slides. 2000 megawatt power projects in Karnataka. That is one such system where what is happening is you need a huge land area where gigantic such solar panels are installed, and power is generated and supplied directly to the grid. So where there is no domestic supply directly. Instead of that, direct supply is given to the grid system, and from grid domestic supplies are made, or industrial supplies are made. So in a conventional grid system, a variety of power sources such as gas, coal, water, etc. they are combined together. Okay. Usually for national grid system, they depend on many power sources. Hydroelectric project will be there, thermal power plant will be there, okay, nuclear plant will be there. Similarly, solar power plant. So what happens from a solar electric system, a giant megawatt, gigawatt system, they generate electricity and supply to the grid system. So grid system may be receiving energy from different sources. Maybe they may be drawing from hydroelectric sources, they may be drawing from nuclear sources, they may be drawing from thermal power plants. Similarly, they may be drawing also from solar power plants, and that is distributed to cities and villages. Okay. So that's a major difference. Okay. So here central grid connected to solar system is directly connected to the transmission. Okay. So that means the major difference is that there is no direct domestic connection as in the previous case. It is usually done by huge companies and government sectors. Okay. A private individual person cannot do it. Done by huge firms and government agencies usually. And such system could be of a small scale, means up to 50 kilowatt, or can be medium scale for 100 megawatt, or can be large scale 1 gigawatt. Okay, so this way you can classify solar electric system distribution into 3 types. Okay, so the last one is usually done in big solar power plants. And finally, if you go into the advantages and disadvantages of solar energy, even with all its advantages, it has some disadvantages. As far as the advantages is concerned, it is a renewable energy source because every year you will get it. It will never get exhausted, and it will help you to reduce the electricity bill, and even maintenance cost is very small. Once it is installed, 10 to 20 years it will run without any appreciable maintenance. Okay, without any much marginal expenditure for maintenance. That is a very important factor. For all other mode of energy sources, the maintenance cost is very large. And day by day, a lot of innovations are coming. This way, people are trying to increase the efficiency of the solar panels. Okay. Currently, the efficiency is around 20%, and people are trying to reach as high as 50% efficiency. Okay, so the work is going all over the world, and it is having a bright future in the coming era. Efficiency increases means power production increases, so that will benefit in so many ways. And it can be used for diverse applications, even for space application, even for meteorological weather forecasting applications, even in remote areas we can use, even for small devices to large devices we can. There are solar power running vehicles nowadays. Okay, even in space vehicles they are using solar power, and at the same time you can even run a small calculator using solar power. So that is the meaning of diverse. And with all these disadvantages we have some. So all these advantages we have some disadvantages also. Initial cost is high because installation we have to invest some money, and weather dependence is also there because only in the daytime you will get energy. But you can overcome this limitation with batteries, and solar energy storage is expensive. because we need huge batteries. Okay, that is one other part of the disadvantage. And it needs a lot of space. If you want to install these panels and all, it takes a lot of space. So with all these limitations, people are finding immense applications for this setup. Day by day, people are now world over, people and other various agencies are trying to install solar-based electric power plants to meet their power requirements. Okay, so this is the last slide of this chapter, and with this comments, we finish this chapter, and in next class onwards, we will move onwards to another important chapter, that is about the wind energy. Okay. So this is the assignment. What are the different types of solar electric power distribution system? I explain in detail. You can take further details from internet, and you write a brief report about the different types of solar electric power distribution system. So with these comments, thank you all of you. Thank you.